It's a very, very sad and unfortunate situation that happened in our city. As someone who has lived in Myrtle Beach my entire life and deeply cares about our community, I never want anything like this to happen, and it truly breaks my heart. Shortly after the shooting on Ocean Boulevard, the city manager notified me, and what I will say to you is that I immediately felt sick. As we all now know, 11 people were injured. One of those, unfortunately, is in critical condition, and one life was lost. This is our home. This is our community. This is not what Myrtle Beach is, and this does not define who we are. I believe that the quick response by our Myrtle Beach police officers saved many lives Saturday night. Our officers responded within seconds, mere seconds, and the shooting happened feet away from where they were. They did exactly what they are trained to do, to protect us, our residents, our businesses, and our visitors. When an incident of this magnitude happens, our responsibility as public servants is to relay accurate information to the community. Gathering this information is not a quick or easy process. It involves going through every real-time crime camera in this area of Ocean Boulevard, every police camera, talking with witnesses, interviewing witnesses. All of this takes time, and this is the responsibility of the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division. It is not the responsibility of the Myrtle Beach Police Department. Because this was an officer-involved shooting, SLED is responsible for this entire investigation, and that is why we have been so limited as to what we can share about the investigation. Just like you, we all want answers, and we will give you those answers. And I assure you that once SLED has completed their investigation and we have the details as we receive them throughout the investigation, we will be transparent in sharing what we can with the community. Thank you. I'll now turn it over to Chief Amy Prock.
Hello, my name is Amy Prock, and I am the Chief of Police of the Myrtle Beach Police Department. I want to be very specific today. This is an active investigation. Myself, the Myrtle Beach Police Department, and the City of Myrtle Beach is cooperating with the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division in conducting this investigation. And we will maintain its integrity. I will not answer questions that may compromise the impartiality of this investigation. This investigation is extensive. It's extensive in nature because of the physical size of the scene and the number of people involved. It will take time. We appreciate the patience of our community and the support of our community as SLED investigates this case. Those of you who don't know me, I have worked for over 28 years for this department. And during this time, I've had the opportunity to see growth in our city and in our department. This includes dedicated police officers and team members, community members, and business owners and members of businesses, as well as visitors to our city. On this past Saturday, it was no different. Our officers proactively officers on foot, officers on bicycles, and other agencies' support. Visitors from all over the area, all over our state and out of state, and our businesses were all very busy. On April 26, 2025, the streets of Ocean Boulevard were packed of vehicles. The sidewalks were full of pedestrians. And at 11:50 p.m., gunshots rang out in the 900 block of Ocean Boulevard. Officers of the Myrtle Beach Police Department immediately encountered an armed man who was actively shooting into a crowd while on patrol. A Myrtle Beach police officer returned fire immediately at the armed man. The young man, later identified as Jacarius Davis, 18 of Bennettsville, South Carolina, was shot and pronounced dead at the scene. Officers immediately began rendering aid, and our emergency medical services were able to quickly respond utilizing our traffic management plan. During the incident, 11 individuals were injured as a result of gunshots, and they were treated. The victims' ages ranged from 13 to 43, with 10 life-threatening injuries that have been treated, with one individual who remains in critical condition. We, the Myrtle Beach Police Department, share in our community's concerns. Our officers, within seconds, were at the scene preventing more injuries. This random act of violence brought tragedy to our community, the community that we all love. We are praying for everyone who has been affected by this unnecessary and senseless violence. This department, the Myrtle Beach Police Department, is committed to the safety of our community, our visitors, and those who work here, as it always has been. Random acts of violence do not deter us from protecting our community. This random act of violence does not define who we are. We are a welcoming community. Our beachfront and all of its businesses and attractions are safe. They are a safe place for our families and visitors to enjoy and celebrate. Public safety is our commitment. It is our commitment to our community and to those who visit. The Myrtle Beach Police Department's goal is to provide safety and a safe environment for our residents and all of our visitors. We continually evaluate the needs within our community to be proactive with uniform presence, with technology, with deployment of resources in response and to prevention of senseless violence. One thing has not changed and will not change. Public safety is a shared responsibility. The Myrtle Beach Police Department focuses on holding those accountable who break the law and put our community at risk. Our goal has been and will continue to be at preventing illegally carrying and the use of firearms, which has been and continues to be across not only our community, but all communities and our nation, putting our communities at risk. Acts of violence such as this have no place in our city or in our nation. We are committed and will continue to be committed to holding people accountable that commit such violence. And anyone who supports or enables or encourages such behavior. Violence endangers lives and threatens the peace and safety of our community. The Myrtle Beach Police Department, in collaboration with our local, state, and federal partners, will continue to actively pursue individuals. Actively pursue anyone who gets involved in such acts of violence. And we will take the necessary steps to move forward and protect our city. As a society, as a community, we want to take part in this solution. This is a wider conversation. It is a wider conversation, not just as a local police issue. We are committed to this as well. In South Carolina alone, there are over 100 different providers that assist youth and parents. Over 100 providers. Here locally, these providers help daily. These providers locally, from Sea Haven to the Boys and Girls Club to SC Mentor to Family Connection to the Father's Place to our school district, and I could keep going. You hear my passion, you hear my tone. That is where I am at today, and that's where I will continue to be. This is where the conversation needs to start and continue. We need to, as a community, we need to, as a state, we need to, as a nation, senseless acts of violence. As your chief of police, I am here to assure you that while you are here in our city, the city of Myrtle Beach, so are we. Standing here every day, every night, just like on Saturday, we will preserve this peace. Thank you.
Now we're going to take about 10 minutes.
Chief, you just spoke very passionately about police and keeping these sorts of things from happening. We spoke with businesses in the area where the officer-involved shooting happened. They said in the weekends leading up to what happened, some of them had to shut down because there were so many crowds and things were getting out of hand. So this officer-involved shooting may have been an isolated incident, but the issues down there are not an isolated incident. So what are you all doing? And I don't want to compound this with what the mayor recently said when we spoke to her over the weekend, saying that you all are down 50 officers a month heading into this tourist season. So how can you stay on top of it, prevent it? And the officers were right there, and this still happened. And similar scenes that didn't go to this level have been happening in previous weekends leading up to this.
That is a great question, and I'm glad you asked that. Our focus, again, continues to be on making sure we're addressing all areas of the city. But in addition to that, as you may or may not know, how many officers we had working on Saturday night and how we continue to address this throughout the summer. So in addition to not only our officers who are working overtime and part of our plan and our summer plan, we also work with our outside agencies who support us. As we've already talked about, our department continues to remain committed to safety, and in doing so, that's why we explore working with other agencies. We deploy our resources effectively. We utilize our technology, our real-time crime, and we support our officers by adding to our resources with outside agencies in addition to our other resources with technology, and support them in those ways.
But is there an officer shortage? If so, how many do you need to hire? How many of you are you short? And what are you doing to build those numbers back up as we head into this season and the rest of the year? How many are we down? Is that 50 per month accurate?
50 per month? No, it's
That's what
not
the mayor's-
accurate. We have an overall, right now, we do have 50 officers that we are down. We are allotted 272 that we actually are down 50. However, we have an active recruiting unit. We have 17 conditional offers out right now, and we have a very active recruiting unit. So I do appreciate the question, and we continue to have a very active unit doing recruiting.
Eric Richards, WMBF News. Chief Prock, thanks for taking the time to talk to us today. I want to get clarification on the injuries to the 11 people who were hurt in this incident. Is it confirmed that all of those people were shot? And if that is the case, why not label this a mass shooting?
I appreciate all of the questions that are specific to this investigation, and as I've already stated, and we want to know all of the specifics. I can't get into specifics of all of those injuries. SLED's going to have to provide that information at a later time.
Chief Brock, were body cameras activated at that time, and if so, are you guys going to push SLED to release that video?
Yes, I can't answer the question. They were activated at this time. We will discuss the information reference to body-worn camera at a later time when the investigation is complete.
Chief Brock, is there anyone else involved in this that has been arrested at this time?
That would be another question that SLED would have to answer.
Chief, from what I understand, there is no law preventing you all from releasing that video while the SLED investigation is going on. So you're choosing not to release it, and if so, why? The public is asking to see it.
I certainly appreciate this video itself is actually evidence. So at this time, that is something we'll have to discuss with SLED. However, at this point, that video is considered evidence.
Talking a little bit about the officers that were involved, the information that we received is that 3 officers have been placed on paid administrative leave. Can you talk anything about that?
We are following our protocol. We have a policy when officers are involved in any type of incident, whether they are part of the incident specifically itself or they are an involved other. In order to follow that, that is exactly what we are doing, is just ensuring they are safe, they're doing wellness checks, they follow policy as provided.
Chief, you mentioned the word illegally carrying guns. South Carolina is now an open carry state. The mother of the suspect in this case said he was rightfully in his rights to have a gun due to open carry law. Is that a concern of yours, that open carry is allowing situations like this to possibly happen more often on the boulevard?
We certainly have, across this state, across this nation, have been working through areas of concern related to those who are not able to possess. Yes, sir.
Hi, Chief. Terry Richardson with the Sun News. You answered some of the questions I had, but in going back to releasing, body cam footage, names of the officers that were involved, and some of the other details, it's my understanding from SLED that yes, while they're investigating this, it's actually up to the agency themselves to be able to release that information. And a lot of police departments across the country do that in these situations. So I guess I'm just wondering, there's no state law that says you can't, so it's clearly up to the department whether or not they want to release that. And I feel like that there might be some things that you can release that are not going to jeopardize this case. So my question is why won't you release the names of them? I mean, we have the deceased names, but we don't have the officers' names, and we don't have some of these other details. So I think that from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, people are clamoring. They're like, what is going on? What is happening? But they're not getting the answers that they need.
And I certainly appreciate that. And as I've talked about with our South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, as well as with our internal investigation, we are going to follow up with absolutely those questions, but just not at this time. So thank you for the question.
Can you tell us how many of the gunshots were from the officer's weapons and how many were from the gun holder, the gunman?
Again, I know we all have a lot of questions about this investigation. That is not something that I can answer. That is something that our South Carolina Law Enforcement Division is going to have to answer at a later time.
Madam Mayor, this is for you. This entire incident has brought back up the phrase Murder Beach. It's something I heard about Myrtle Beach before I moved here a year ago. Talk to me about your efforts to take us out of that territory and to get us away from that name. And I ask because, you know, we say that 50% violent crime drop. The chief just reported that not long ago, since 2015, but not in that area. In that area, we have, and this is a lot of it anecdotal, but we've talked to businesses and residents down there who have seen violence happening among youth down there. So address that a little bit, and then I have a follow-up question.
The first way I will address it is violent crime, Part 1 violent crimes in the Oceanfront District area have decreased nearly 50%. That is a true statistic. The police department can back that up. As to the first part of your question, we have, let's look at the last 5 years, nearly 100 million visitors, 75 to 100 million visitors over the last 5 years. Where are those visitors going to when they come to Myrtle Beach? They are all, at some point, going to the Ocean Boulevard District area. So it is a very congested, very crowded area. I think when you look at the high numbers of people, millions upon millions of people that come here, and you look at our crime statistics, the real crime statistics, not what you see on the internet, you will find out that we are a very safe place. Are we immune to crime? Absolutely not. There's not a city or town, regardless of their size, in this nation that has zero crime. It's very unfortunate. We can't control the behaviors of people who come here or people who may live here. But I encourage those who do live in this city and own businesses in this city, it is up to us to change that narrative. And I'm not even going to repeat what you said because, quite honestly, it disgusts me. That's not who we are. It doesn't define who Myrtle Beach is. We are a place for families. We are a place for fun. We are a place where everyone can come and enjoy their time here. So it is the responsibility of those of us who live here, own property here, own businesses here, to do away with that type of negativity.
And Madam Mayor, I have to ask this next question. This is the first time we are seeing the two of you on camera about this in some sort of organized way. We're 4 days out. When we initially talked to you over the weekend, your tone seems to have changed now versus when we talked to you. You know, you said that these things happen, not always in crowded areas. You were on vacation. You did not seem to rush back from vacation.
I was not on vacation.
You told one of our reporters you were on vacation.
I was not on vacation, and what I said was I was out of town one day this week.
Okay. And so, but I go back to the tone of your message over the weekend versus the very serious tone we're seeing here now on this first time we're seeing you since it happened. Why the shift in tone, and why is this the first time we're hearing from our chief? And not the first time we're hearing from you, but the first time we're seeing anything like this in an officer-involved shooting situation. And we haven't had one here. There wasn't one here last year. So this is a big deal. Go ahead.
Yes. Quite simply, we didn't have all of the information on Sunday enough information to provide. And we were waiting on SLED. You've heard this is a SLED investigation, not our investigation. And quite honestly, in the future, we've learned from this. This is not something we deal with every single day. This is, we're not a large city that deals with murders every day or officer-involved shootings. So we have to take this situation and learn from it. What we have learned is that, yes, the public deserves answers more quickly. We have to get those answers out more quickly. That is our responsibility. So what I can tell you, and it's very, very honest, is that we have learned what we need to do better and that we need to respond more quickly.
One more question.
Hi, my question is for Mayor Bethune. Over the weekend, you were quoted saying that, the goal is to try and get the wrong kind of people or type of people out of, that area, and also the wrong type of merchandise. And I was just hoping that you'd be able to expand on what you meant by that.
Absolutely. We are working very hard to invest in our city. The Chamber invests a lot of money in our city, as do many business owners and property owners. It is up to us to make this a very welcoming environment, a fun, safe, friendly environment for people to want to come here and visit. But we need the right people to come here. We don't need people that are coming here to carry guns and carry out their disputes with gunfire and with violence. That's not what we want. And what I have said to multiple media outlets is when we have motels that are offering rooms that are subpar rooms, nothing that you would stay in, for $45, $50 a night, that attracts the wrong element. When we have businesses that are selling very sexually graphic, improper t-shirts and merchandise, drug paraphernalia, that does not welcome the right people. So until we realize that people need to reinvest and invest in the right types of businesses in Myrtle Beach, we're not going to change the clientele.
That's all for today. Thank you, everybody, for coming.